Hello everybody, welcome to the next mindset session. I'm feeling emotional. I'm feeling like my emotions are on the surface of everything that's to come here. This session will literally or can literally change your life. And if you listen to what I'm going to say and you understand the messages contained within, I have no doubt this will change your life forever. So first let me share something to my screen. And it's okay, I'll just need to minimise this. Give me a wee sec. That'll give you time to join me anyway. And in we go. Okay, good stuff, right? How do we get that a bit smaller? Here we go. Okay. Now I hope people that need to see this will be here tonight. But the problem is, a lot of the time, the people that need to see and hear and feel what I'm saying quite often are the people who are AWOL. We can't find them. Where are they? So they don't hear the content, they don't see the content, they don't do the content. And so how can I ever help someone when they don't even show up for themselves? So I hope you're here. If you're needing to hear this, I hope you're here. And this could be a complete game changer for you. So whilst I wait on you joining me, whether it's morning time, wherever you are, afternoon or evening, welcome everybody. It's evening here in the UK right now. Okay, I'm really feeling like I'm feeling this session in my heart, and I've not even started yet. I've got a lot of notes, as I always do, but this is a mindset session, and a lot of the time, for me anyway, the mindset work, the deep inner work that we have to do in an effort and to change your life and to change the future, it's not about the logistical stuff, really. That's about maybe 20% as far as I'm concerned. The 80% is the mindset work, the deep inner work, the psychological, how you think work, the spiritual work, the stuff that people can't see. And so when I'm trying to convey those messages, that's harder than explaining what insulin resistance is, for example, and how to reverse type 2 diabetes, and talking about fibromyalgia and PCOS, for example, metabolic syndrome, syndrome X. I could talk about that all day long, but the mindset work and the mindset content is harder to get across in a way, but I really feel it. And when I feel it and I deliver it, it's like therapy for me. It's amazing. So, will we get started? I think so. There's 3 P's that could be getting in the way of your progress. 3 P's. And those P's are this. Permanence. You believe something is permanent, particularly if you have a fixed mindset. You believe it's always going to be the same, or nothing's going to change, or the brain that you're born with is how you're going to be, and you can't change and adapt and grow and learn and progress. You're just going to stay the same. So that permanence could be like a barrier or like a big black cloud that surrounds you, and you can't break away from it because you are conditioned. You've conditioned your mind to feel like, well, that's the way it's going to be. That's the way I am. That's the way it's going to stay forever. So that keeps you stuck. So that's the first P. The second P is pervasiveness, which means you think everything's the same. So if one element of your life isn't going well, you think, well, the rest of it's going to be crap. The rest of it's going to, go to the dogs. And I'm never really going to be able to change anything. And that's not the case. One element of your life could need work, but there's other elements of your life that you could really draw upon and get strength from and change the reality of this blockage that you've got. And the last P is you take things so personally. And most of the time, it's not personal to you. It's not personal. So when things go wrong or they don't go to plan, you think, well, that was my fault. That was me. and you feel down on yourself, you get negative self-talk, and actually you talk yourself down from going for the job, for going towards the new relationship. And before long, you will feel really stuck and flat and bored and miserable. And you'll gain weight, and you'll get all the signs and symptoms of a person that just has lost their mojo. So that's the 3 Ps, and that's really important. The second thing I want to talk about is a lot of the time when you embark on something new, you want to do it, your willpower is pushing you to do it, but actually you're fighting against the survival brain or an automaticity pattern. So everything that you do in life is automatic. So you get up in the morning, you jump in the shower. You don't even need to think about it. In fact, before you jump in the shower, you check your phone, you check your socials, and you then get in the shower, you come out, dry your hair, get your makeup on, go downstairs, kettle on, and you're running an automatic pattern, and you don't even need to think about what's coming next. It's so automatic. And a lot of the time, you're running your whole life on automaticity, and it's comfortable. And it's comfortable because it's safe. And your body's got you stuck in this survival mode. So even if you have 4 or 5 stone to lose, and you need to get your body in shape, or you need to relieve your stress, or you need to make some changes in your life, they're really hard to do because you're living in this survival mode. So you live on biscuits and cakes and sweeties and Coke and refined carbohydrates, and to make that change, you're willing to do it. You've got the will and the willpower, but the sustainable long-term change means it's going to be uncomfy. And damn right it's uncomfy. It's really uncomfortable to make those changes. So you then regress back to survival mode because it's comfy and safe. And you might be 18, 19, 20 stone in weight, but it's safe. And your survival brain is taking over and is dictating your whole future, and it's keeping you stuck. To break those patterns takes you to step out of that box that you've had yourself in and actually think, I need to break this pattern. And it's going to be uncomfortable. I'm going to have to retrain my brain and think differently. I'm going to have to go for walks when I feel like I want a cigarette, or I want to have a drink, or I want to binge eat and binge on carbohydrates and sweeties and all of the stuff that's not on a feel, look, be plan for the first 4 weeks, definitely. So you have to break the patterns, and it's not until you break the patterns can you start to even contemplate moving away from this, being in this box. And that's uncomfortable. It makes you sweat, it makes you lose sleep, it makes you worried. It sometimes gives you the jitters because you've got withdrawals from all the bad stuff. Your body's so conditioned to live on sugar and alcohol and nicotine and a gambling high, or a sex high, or whatever the addiction is that you may have. It's difficult to come away from it. It's painful. So once you realise that it's painful, you get to a place where you kind of accept that you'll go through that, and you become much more open to change. So that's a couple of basic things that we need to probably touch on before we get deeper into this. Now, I'm going to go quite deep, so bear with me here, okay? When you realise what you want and why you want it, you can then start thinking about making those changes from the box to the daily habits that need to happen for you to get there. When you stop worrying about the how you're going to do it, and you purely concentrate on the why and the what, not the how. I'm showing you the how, I'm giving you the structure. You don't need to worry about the structure. The structure is here. Shelley Booth, me, I've given you the structure. So you don't worry about the how, you worry about the what and the why. What you want. Is it the body shape? Is it the financial situation? Is it the partnership? Is it the travelling the world? What is it and why? So you connect the feelings to it, the feeling states. You then can start unpicking and unpacking what it is you actually want to show up in your life. Okay. the identity that you have for yourself, who you think you are, is the strongest force in human personality, who you think you are. And that's formed by the beliefs that you have. Now, the beliefs that you have, a belief is basically a complete certainty about the meaning of something, even if it's wrong. If you have complete certainty that the world is going to end next week, or the world is flat, or the world is round, or whatever it is, you've got complete certainty in that. That's your belief. And your beliefs dictate your whole future. They dictate what you think about, what you feel like, what you see. And that belief structure is built on past experiences, your upbringing. Was it a growth or a fixed mindset at home? The relationships that you've had, the places that you lived, your friendships. So there's a whole host of different things that impact upon the beliefs that you have for yourself. But what if those beliefs are false? What if those beliefs are a set of beliefs that somebody else put on you? Sometimes we get in relationships that are horrendous, that are abusive. We're told we're not worth it. You're a worthless piece of shit, you can't do anything, you're going to be stuck forever, you don't deserve X, Y, and Z. And it conditions you to actually believe that. That's not the case, that's not true. It's like the analogy that I go through sometimes when I talk about in the days when, the circus used to travel with animals, and in some countries they still do, unfortunately. And it's like when the lion or the elephant is captured from the wild and taken to the circus, and it's going bananas, it's rearing on its hind legs, it's going nuts, its trunk's all over the place, it's smashing things up. So to train that elephant, the circus hands tie the elephant, tie big ropes around the elephant's legs and batter stakes into the ground and keep it still so it can't move. And after a while, because of the repetition and the constant nature of this behaviour that these people are doing to this animal, eventually they can take the ropes off of the elephant, and what happens? The elephant doesn't do anything. It's conditioned. It believes that it can't go bananas, it can't go nuts, it can't escape, and it stays. And they might just put a wee slim noose round its neck just to lead it, and it'll walk alongside them. A wild elephant will walk alongside them into the ring, and they'll be able to do all these stupid, crazy mental tricks with this elephant because it's conditioned. It believes. It has a set of beliefs now that it didn't have when it was in the wild. And it's the same with you. You've maybe got a set of beliefs like, I can't change my diet. I'm addicted to Coke. I'm a smoker. And you attach yourself, you attach an identity to a thing. And you believe you're that thing. And you carry it with you. What if those beliefs, though, are inaccurate or they're outdated? That used to be you. It's not you anymore. And if it is you, maybe that's not the you that you're supposed to be. And it all starts with this realisation and this need for change. And you can all do it. Every single one of you could do this. But it takes doing this work. And just like, it's like a light bulb moment. You think, that sounds really simple, but yeah, that's me. To create a breakthrough, whether it's, you're trying to get a job, you're trying to be a multi-millionaire, whatever it is, there are a few things that will contribute to the breakthrough. And the first one is you need a strategy or a plan. And that strategy or plan must be robust. I've created it for you. I've taken all the hard work out. You just need to show up. So that's the first thing. Show up and do the work. The second thing is, and I'm going to talk more about this, is your story. A lot of the time, you are consumed by your story, and it dictates everything about who you are. And if that's positive, then it's great. You're going to fly. You're going to be abundant. You're going to have a nice life. But if that's negative, then the chances are you're going to stay stuck. And you're going to say things like, nothing works for me. I've tried everything. That didn't work for me. That didn't work for me. That was crap. That was terrible, that. And you'll go full circle to to nothing works for you. And here's why. Let me talk to you about this. This is my logo. Obviously it's SB, Shelley Booth. But right in the middle of that logo, some of you know this, is a heart. And what it does is it represents the heart that my dad had that failed at the age of 56 and he died as a result of lifestyle related choices, habits, routines, and a lot played a part in that. Alcoholism, stuff. And when I say stuff, I mean poor lifestyle choices. And my dad developed atherosclerosis, which is a narrowing of the artery, which essentially killed him. So it was a combination of smoking, alcohol every day for many, all my life certainly, and omega-6 vegetable oils, causing massive amounts of inflammation so that artery narrows. But it killed my dad. And since that day, I knew, because of everything I knew then, and I had graduated by then, I had a sports science degree, I was immersed in the world of health and fitness, I knew that I had to do something to help educate, re-educate, actually unpick what education people thought they knew and rebuild, get to a level playing field and a baseline of what we should actually know. What's the data, what's out there, and what don't you know? And that's why I created Feel Look Be. And I've put it together over 25 years now, and that is what the programme is. It's an amazing programme, it's robust, you're on it, you'll love it, and if you go all in and immerse yourself in it, it will change your life. But that's my story now. For quite a few years, I was knee-deep in grief, in trauma. I couldn't listen to music for years. I was pining after my dad. And it was a silent pine. And it was silent tears, and it was a silent suffering. And I could have got stuck in that forever. But you now know, because I'm sat in front of you, I managed to change it. And I managed to change it because I knew that what we'd been through as a family and what my dad had been through, and inevitably what killed him, I could do something about that. So I can actually help change people's lives. And so it's been a lifelong, it's not even a job, it's a passion. It's a passion project, if you like, but it's deep, and it runs deep in me, and this is the foundation of everything, and it's why I'm sat in front of you now. This logo is everything. But if you're attached to your story and you're stuck in a negative frame of mind, maybe it's, you just see a black cloud when you think about things. Maybe you're stuck in trauma, which I'll talk about in a minute. And maybe you're just stuck. You might be going through the motions of Feel Look Be or something else, but actually you'll never really properly change because you're carrying this story. You have to get to what the truth is and who you are and what it is you want, where it is you've been, definitely. But how do you change your story for good, like I did? I could have sat and suffered. I could have been one of these people that just took a bad route and done different things, and my life could have been full of negativity and darkness and bleakness and procrastination and no drive, no ambition. But actually I changed it, and I've got more drive in me. I've got, initiated by my dad, I've got so much drive in me that I want to help and create lasting change in you. So the strategy and the plan, the story, your story, and how you actually talk to yourself about the story. So everything that happened to you, again, happened for you, all the bad stuff. It happened to you because it was designed, I believe, to make you better, to learn the lessons, even though they were terrible and crap and horrific. And there's some of you been through some shocking, horrendous times. As horrible as that was, it's made you who you are. It happened to you for a reason. And you could use that for good, and you can actually gain strength from it to let it propel you forward. And it's all about how you think about it. And you do that by changing your state, the state of mind, your physical state, your physiological state. By changing your state, you can change how you think about your story instantly, or within 10 minutes, by changing your state. Comes down to breathing, comes down to how you think, comes down to your energy, actually what you eat, what you fuel yourself on, what you listen to. And it's a state changer, and it works like magic. But let me talk you through something. So Leo actually got me this for my Christmas. He came back, and it's a MAC lipstick. And he went with his wee pal for his Christmas shopping. I think they went in the town with 50 quid each. So they were buying their people presents and Christmas Day. He says, in fact, his pal says, should see what Leo got you. And later on after Christmas Day, and it opened it, he says, Leo was doing all this. He says, my mum likes a nude colour. So he was in MAC, checking out all the lipsticks. How adorable. So, yeah, it melted me. I'm like, oh my God. What a darling. What a darling you are. Right, okay. Here's a story for you. And this won't leave you. So, this particular lady is a mum. And she's 13. And she's just had a baby girl at the age of 13. So she's a child that's given birth to a child. And this child, because the mother is so young, ends up giving the child away to the gran. The mum is, erratic, chaotic. She's a child, she's had a child, she doesn't know what she's doing. So the gran has now got this child. And because things are so discontented, it's in America, it's when Black and African people had a really, really tough time, and this young child is grown up in a really, really tough environment where abuse is prevalent. And what happens is this child herself gets to the age of 13 and ends up pregnant, just like her mum. And the child is born, stillborn, so the child dies, and this 13-year-old has just given birth, gets taken into an institution because her gran couldn't deal with it. And this institution wasn't a good place, and in fact there wasn't enough beds. And this guy presented at the institution and says, look, she's my daughter. And they're like, right, okay, take her away. So this guy ended up sexually, physically, psychologically, spiritually abusing this 13-year-old. So think of everything she's been through. Her dad left when she was a baby. Her mum was 13. Her gran couldn't cope, and she's now in the hands of this abuser. And the story, I mean, you immerse yourself in this story and you think, oh my God, what kind of life would she have? What kind of prospects is this girl, how's she going to turn out? Now that particular girl is actually Oprah Winfrey's story. It's Oprah Winfrey, one of the most influential females in the whole world, and that's her story. That's what happened to her. Does she dwell on it? Does she sit and, sit with this big black cloud over her head, feeling sorry for herself? No, she's doing the opposite. She's knocking it out the fucking park. She's a billionaire. She's one of the richest women in the world. Not that money is, it's not a marker for anything, but just saying. And billions of people look up to this woman, including myself. She's a phenomenal human being. So there's two ways you can use your story. You can either use it for good, or you could use it to keep you stuck. And it's a choice. And when you realise you've got a choice, and everybody does have a choice, in the modern day world, you've got a choice, you could start spinning things, and you can start challenging the meaning that you place on things. And here's how we're going to do it. Right. So say someone you love has had a traumatic experience, or you've been through a trauma, and you have developed this wound. We'll put it here. Don't tell Leo, I'm doing this with his nude lipstick. So there's the wound. And the wound and the trauma attached to this wound is unbearably painful. You can't sleep, you carry it around with you, you've carried it around with you for years. It's just absolutely unbearable to the point that you can't even talk about it, you can't even think about it. So what you do is, you cover it up, don't you? You try and hide it. It's hidden. It's fine. But people accidentally brush past it and aggravate it. And that causes reactions in you and emotional responses and maybe outbursts and behavioural changes. And people think it's a massive overreaction. They're like, they don't understand. They don't understand what's under here. So you keep it covered over so you can try and fit in. And subconsciously it numbs the pain, doesn't it? It numbs it for a while. You forget about it. Sometimes you could laugh, sometimes you can go out with your friends, sometimes you can actually forget about it. But in the cold, dark nights of winter and you're in on your own and you've got a chance to think and you're still enough, it comes back, doesn't it? That story comes back to you and haunts the living shit out of you. And you might cry, you might get worried, you might get anxious, you might be on antidepressants, you maybe drink alcohol to numb the pain, you maybe take drugs, you maybe a sex addict, maybe you gamble, maybe there's something that maybe you just try and keep busy all of the time to keep your mind off of the story, off of the thing, off of the trauma. And it does work for a while. But it doesn't work forever, does it? And if you feel this, and you've been through this, you will definitely connect with this, what I'm saying to you. Doesn't really heal what you're masking though, does it? When the mask comes off, it's still there. So what do? You try even harder to cover it and numb it. This feels better now. Here, that's fine. You maybe put a bandage over it to cover it even more and numb it down even more. That's fine. Good. But actually, the cold dark nights come round again, or you might have time alone, you might be in a space or a place, and all of a sudden, the pain of it is crippling. And you know that that's not helping. In fact, that's probably making it worse because it's concealing what's under there. You're constantly concealing and constantly masking what's under there. And when you're bold and brave enough and you decide to take that off, the bandages off, and expose what's underneath, you could recognise that your vulnerabilities and sensitivities and emotional responses to this, it's not a fault in your personality, it's actually really real. You deserve to feel those things because of what you've been through. It's okay to feel those things. And when I say deserve it, I don't mean that in a way that you deserve that. What I mean is, what actually happened to you is justified the way you feel about this wound. It's normal, it's natural. So you can't feel shame. You can't feel, you might even blame right now, but you can't feel shame. You can't feel bad about yourself. You can't self-loathe. And if you do, you're going to keep putting this bandage on. And you're going to keep going round and round in circles until one day the bandage is going to come off for good. The elastoplast is going to be ripped off and you're going to expose the wound. And when you expose that wound, that's when you can open it up to see actually what's under there and what you need to do to try and heal it, what you need to do to try and fix it. And that's where real life transformation starts. That's where the mindset shift becomes an absolute life changer and game changer and will change the course of your whole reality. When you expose the wound and the trauma to the air, to the elements, to the emotions, and you actually give it time and space to go, right, okay, what am I going to do with this? It's all reactions to past trauma, and the past trauma may well be giving you anxiety for moving forward into the future, which keeps you stuck. And you're stuck because of the meaning that you've placed on your story. All those things that happen to you, the chances of them happening to you again are very, very slim. In fact, probably nil, because you have learned so much by what you've been through that to put yourself through that again, to choose that relationship again, would be ridiculous for a start. So you'll make different choices. You'll improve your physiology, you'll work on your mindset, you'll pay attention to what you read, you'll get around people that inspire and motivate you, and you'll get stuck into Feel Look Be. And you'll be able to start thinking about this wound and how to get over it, and how it can actually create lasting change, not a 4-week change. Not a change because you're on a programme or a change because you've got willpower, but a long-lasting change. And it all starts with your beliefs about the story and what your story actually means, the meaning that you place on it, if it's positive, if it's negative, what do you need to do to create some momentum to go forward and use the story. The shittier, the most horrific stories create the biggest transformations, create really successful people, create really rich people a lot of the time. A lot of ultra successful people have been through the worst of times because they've used the story for good and they've spun it and they've learned so much from it. Healing is best, and healing works best when you're in a safe space and you're free to open up, which is why I create this space for you. I create it, I keep it safe, I keep it positive, because you should feel safe. That's why my community means the world to me. I work really, really hard on keeping my community as positive and as safe and as nurtured as possible. I've employed a team to look after you. I look after you. It's important. When you start to feel safe, you could then start to heal. When you start to heal, you could change the shape of your whole reality. And you are doing that. Nobody else is doing that, but you are doing that. And before long, guess what's going to happen? Gradually, very gradually, this wound is going to pretty much disappear. And it's a MAC one, so I might need it rub for a wee bit longer. Amazing. That's when you can move forward. That's when lasting change will happen. That's when you won't keep regressing back and forwards. And it's beautiful to watch. I hope you found that useful. It's deep. Even coming into the session, my emotions were on the surface. It is everything that I do. This whole session tonight is everything, is every reason why I'm sat in front of you. And it all comes back to this story, this love heart. My dad's heart failed, which is why I'm committed to helping you create lasting change so you can keep your heart strong, spiritually and physiologically, and actually have an extraordinary life. It's time to be excellent. I want you to be excellent. But you need to realise your worth. And you're worth everything. You're amazing. Okay, lots of love to you. Take it easy, everybody. See you tomorrow.